about favorite rap song this one?
You got me thinking that, isn't it? That's the two things at once.
That's it.
It's at 5 past 10.
I appreciate
Dan and Anna, we are now in front of the blimp. The blimp is set to take off in about 20 minutes. Why is the reaction of London against Donald Trump so strong, stronger than in other countries?
So I think firstly it's because Trump is the president, he's the most powerful man in the world, and also as the US leader he's supposed to be the UK's strongest ally, and so it's up to the people of the UK to hold him account for his politics of hate.
He also, it's really important that we make a stand here because of the connections of what they're trying to do, particularly to our health system. There's very strong connections between the privatisation of American healthcare and the privatisation of the National Health Service here. We're old friends from ACT UP, so it's really important that we make a stand that we're not going to allow Donald Trump, Theresa May or any of their little circle to take away our health service, because that will result in catastrophe and death. And as the ACT UP slogan says, silence equals death.
But here the society is also very sensitive to many issues concerning diversity, civil rights, and maybe that's the reason why Trump is seen as a special threat.
I don't think it's about being sensitive to those issues, it's just about demanding a politics that works for everybody, and Trump regularly spouts homophobia, transphobia, racism, xenophobia and misogyny, and as the UK, as his ally, and as, again, a really powerful country in the world, we have a responsibility to stand up to his politics and ensure that we're creating a future that's more just for everybody.
And people across the world have an incredible history of creative activism and standing up to injustice where they see it, and we need to in this current global political climate when policies that he affects, such as like pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord, affects all of us. And so we need to stand up all over the world to challenge those policies which have a trickle-down effect all over the world. And it's really important that we celebrate our history of resistance when it comes to standing up against fascism, against sexism, against racism, against injustice in all its forms. This is the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising as well. And a lot of people are being like, oh, you're being anti-American, you're not standing up for Trump. It's like, no, there's so many incredible people in America, such as Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, who 50 years ago started the Stonewall Uprisings, along with many other people born out of the revolutionary Black Power, women's liberation movements. So many things to celebrate in America, and we stand in solidarity with our friends and our lovers in America who are standing up for justice.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this 100% is not an anti-American protest. This is an anti-Trump protest, and what we're doing is standing in solidarity with the people most affected by his politics in the US and around the world, by gathering all the people in the UK who are most offended and affected by his politics to show that you're not alone and we're going to resist this together.
The list goes on in terms of the issues which his policies have emboldened. If we're looking at like gun regulations or lack of, for example, if we're looking at moving the Israeli embassy to Jerusalem, further encroaching and colonizing Palestine, if we're looking at transphobia, if we're looking at the wall that he wants to build in Mexico, there's so many issues which illustrates fascism. And yes, it's D-Day, and people say that they're here to celebrate D-Day, to commemorate D-Day. It's like, yeah, there's many ways. No one wins in war, no one wins in othering.
Yeah, and the main point of the D-Day celebrations should be about the fact that that was a victory in the fight against fascism, and to not hold Donald Trump to account as he's supporting a politics that's creeping back towards that. Like, fascism doesn't appear out of nowhere, and supporting far-right policies and far-right politics and creating divisiveness putting children in detention centres at the US border, that is creeping back towards something that we need to be really aware of and holding our president to account instead of rolling out the red carpet.
Marcia, Trump for prison. Why?
Why Trump for prison? Treason, collusion, conspiracy, obstruction of justice, inciting violence, racketeering, sexual assault, misconduct, perjury of oath, abuse of authority, bribery, intimidation, misuse of assets, failure to supervise, dereliction of duty, refusal to obey lawful order, organising hate crimes, witness tampering, tax evasion, breach of contract, money laundering, using office of president for personal profit.
I'm Professor Chris Imafidon. I'm the chairman of the Excellence in Education program, and I mentor and supervise students currently right now at Oxford.
Professor Imafidon, how do you see the chance of replacing the EU with the USA?
That's a joke. You can never replace your local neighbors with your distant neighbors, because Britain may be a geographical island, but economically it is linked to what is happening in Europe and has always been linked to what's happening, because the number one trader with the United Kingdom is and has always been Europe. So if you are now hoping, in business you don't sell on hope, you sell on substance. So if you're hoping that the US will somehow come with a trade deal, it is delusionary for you to think that way. Number two, Trump can only suggest to Congress. Nancy Pelosi, the chair of Congress, made it very clear that if they don't have the Irish solution resolved, she will oppose every single trade deal. So if you know that Congress plays a role, you must court both the executive and Congress. But because we have a parliamentary system, it doesn't seem as if Theresa May, understands this. And she's never been in business. If she's ever been in business and big business, she will understand that negotiation is the only way to resolve the Brexit issue, not looking for new partners or imagine new partners.
I guess I love you too, boys. You're running in the front of your contest.
Yes, we are both men with many convictions.
We're
expecting many.
We've got the field of voters down to less than 100,000 people who are allowed to vote for you.
Yes.
Sheila, why this special reaction to Donald Trump is much stronger than in other countries?
Britain has a very long-standing special relationship with America. They've been one of our allies in the world wars, and through trade, through language, through culture. But all the more reason for us to be out here protesting against the welcoming of him and the politics that he represents. Because by doing that, we are welcoming those policies and politics, and we are welcoming the fact that he would, if we make a trade agreement after Brexit and we make a trade agreement with him, he vocally believes that we should be privatising our NHS. We will lose several of the rights that protect our workers. We will lose a lot of the food standards that protect our health and safety in this country. So it's really our moral duty to be out here protesting at the fact that we are rolling out the red carpet for him.
The only off-colour individual that belongs to the cage is you. Yes, we are both men of great many convictions, the Commander-in-Chief and I, and we will have to expect to answer those convictions the way I've answered most things in my career with long-running sentences.
I'm very glad to speak with a person with a very high IQ, so I expect a smart answer. What can we learn from Trump? For example, he wants to build a a wall with the frontier with Mexico. Now, can we build a wall in Northern Ireland?
I think in a position of leadership like this, you have to reach for the simplest solutions, because of course the simplest solutions must be the best solutions, including calling for trade sanctions against countries that you feel aren't being fair to you, or in the case of a no-deal Brexit, for the first time in history, a country calling for trade sanctions against itself, which is exactly what Britain would be doing if it calls for a no-deal Brexit, wall or no wall.
You always blame China for copying what America is doing, but you want to build a wall, and the Great Wall was built by the Chinese over 2,000 years ago. So are you copying the Chinese now?
Yeah, I'm always prepared to give credit where credit's due. They had a little idea about a wall back in the day, and it's not really a very, very good wall. You can go and visit it. You can get down on one side, you can get down the other. I want a wall that'll keep those, not only the Mexicans where they want to be, but all those other people, everybody keeps coming over into the United States, taking our jobs. So we need a wall. The Brits need a wall too.
You're going to do it quickly, otherwise, yeah, I do want a few, darling.